Mahelabhir Dhyasin Durgapadir Yadam Yamasitrendriyaratin Durjayan Nidarasramaihi Vayam Jaye Mahelabhir Dasyun Durgapadir Yadam. Synonyms: Ya, whom, Asritya, taking shelter of, Indriya, senses, Arathin, enemies, Durajayan, difficult to conquer, Itara, other than the householders, Asramahi, by orders of society, Vayam, we, Jayema, can conquer, Helabhi, easily, Dasyan, invading plunders, Durgapadihi, a fort commander, Yada, us. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: as a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in the other social orders. Purport: of the four orders of human society, the student or brahmachari order, the householder or grihastha order, the retired or vanaprastha order, and the renounced or sannyasa order, the householder is on the safer side. The bodily senses are considered plunderers of the fort of the body. The wife is supposed to be the commander of the fort, and therefore, whenever there is an attack on the body by the senses, it is the wife who protects the body from the being smashed. The sex demand is inevitable for everyone, but one who has fixed wife is saved from the onslaught of the sense enemies. A man who possesses a good wife does not create a disturbance in society by corrupting virgin girls. Without a fixed wife, a man becomes a debauchee of the first order and is a nuisance in society. Unless he is trained brahmachari, vanaprastha or sannyasi. Unless there is a rigid and systematic training of the brahmachari by the expert spiritual master, and unless the student is obedient, it is sure that the so-called brahmachari will fall prey to the attack of sex. There is so many instances of fall down, even for great yogis like Vishwamitra. A grihastha is saved, however, because of his faithful wife. Sex life is the cause of material bondage, and therefore it is prohibited in 3 ashramas and is allowed only in the grihastha ashrama. The grihastha is responsible for producing first quality brahmacharis, vanaprasthas and sannyasis. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Salagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadi Supadandigam Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Udabadagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Dam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahidam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Sri Vishakha Nidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Sahana Vavadu Sahanau bhunaktum sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinamagidamastu ma vidushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining this very auspicious Bhagavatam class. Every day we are going through in detail of each verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very wonderful and it's very purifying just by hearing, just by associating. So thank you all so much for that. So today we are covering the 20th verse of this 14th chapter, and this chapter is titled The Pregnancy of Mother Didi in the Evening. So we know that many times it's been explained the context and the situations. So we were hearing that Mother Didi was approached sage Kashyapa as a husband in the inauspicious time in the evening for a progeny. Mother Didi was the daughter of Daksha Prajapati, and Daksha Prajapati handed over 13 daughters to Kashyapa because of these daughters were desiring to have a very well-qualified personality like Kashyapa, and it was the desire of Mother Didi that to attain sage Kashyapa. And when Mother Didi approached on the evening time, that time Kashyapa was in the meditational mode, in the evening, or usually it's considered as Trisandhya. The great personalities, devotees, they offer their oblation on these 3 times: morning, noon time, and evening time. And it's called Trisandhya, 3 Sandhya time. And this is the time one has to perform in the devotional activities. So sage Kashyapa was doing that, offer the fire sacrifice and oblations, and after that, Kashyapa was meditating on the Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu. And this is the time the Mother Didi was attacked by the lusty desire and approached sage Kashyapa in order to have a union and to have a children. And Mother Didi was praising the Kashyapa, and wonderful words Mother Didi used to convince Kashyapa Muni. And then after hearing these very praiseworthy words and pleased by the words of Mother Didi, Kashyapa was also pleased with those words. And Kashyapa replied to the Mother Didi that I would definitely, certainly fulfill your desires. And you are so nice. You are my Ardhangini. You are my better half. And then, Kashyapa Muni was giving a wonderful descriptions of the importance of the wife. Last few verses, we were going through this, the Kashyapa. So the speaker is here, Kashyapa. Kashyapa was addressing the Mother Didi in such a way that, and in generally speaking in the sense that this is all beneficial for us, that I was wondering why this part of all this, the different topics of this, the union with the wife, and why it is included here in Srimad Bhagavatam. But there is a meaning, there is a purpose behind all this, because of this is generally for us. Any words, even that's for our benefits, our purification. So here Kashyapa, sage Kashyapa was addressing Mother Didi in such a way that you are my better half, you are Ardhangini, and without you, I cannot cross over this material ocean. So this is a powerful word. So without you, that I cannot, perform all my duties or activities. Without you, I cannot control my senses. You are chaste lady, and you are always obedient to me. And these wonderful verses which Kashyapa was addressing to the Mother Didi. And that's where we came over here in this verse, that as a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunders, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses which are unconquerable in the other social orders. So here, sage Kashyapa is using the words that Indriya Aradhin. Indriya Aradhin means the enemies of the senses. So Sage was mentioning that the wife Dankini, the wife is considered as or acting as a fort commander, that who is conquering the invaded plunderers. So as we know that the wife is mentioned in the various ways in our scriptures. The wife, or it's actually in the Sanskrit, it is known as Patni, and in the scriptures in various ways it's mentioned that it's not really Patni. Patni means one who is devoted, and then there is known as Dharma Patni. Dharma Patni means one who is completely involved into the religious or dharmic activities along with his husband. That's called Dharma Patni, and as per the dharmic rules and codes and conducts. And then there is a word in the scripture is called Sahadharmani. So these are beautiful words, and mentioning for the wives, for the Patni, Sahadharmani. Saha means always, with that, along with, and then Dharmani. Dharmani means one who is always upkeeping the dharma, the religious principles, in order to fulfill the highest perfection, the highest goal of the life. That's called Sagadharmani. Then it's known as Sahayogini. Another words of the wife is mentioned, that Sahayogini. Yogini means together, and together the wife execute the activities with husband in order to achieve the highest perfection. So these are the various definition of the wife. And then there is known as Sahakarmani. Sahakarmani means in all activities. In all activities, wife is taking part. Wife is supporting, helping in all activities of the husband and the wife's the activities together. That's called Sahakarmani. Then there is also known as Ardangini. Ardangini means the better half. In one sense, the man is not complete without a female, or without a wife, or the wife is not complete without a husband. This is the bigger picture of the Ardhangini, or there is even a deity called Ardhanarishwara. In Tamil Nadu, there is a temple for Ardhanarishwara, Ardhanari Ishwara. So that means half male and half a female form. This was originally manifested by the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's one half of is actually Lord Shiva with the snake on the neck and the moon and all those, and the second half is like Mother Parvati. So it is mentioned that a male is also the half, the male, and also half a female. That means a male is also has the qualities of the female. I mean, this is the general understanding. So the Ardhanarishwara, that means the male and the female is one sense is together, and that we can see that in our scriptures as well. Even it's called Shakti, and it's the female aspect is called the Shakti, and the Purusha, the male aspect, is called the Shaktiman. So in our scriptures, it's very clearly mentioned that this Shakti, this potency or energy, and the male is considered as the energetic. That means the potency which sustain the male. The male is sustaining by the potency of the female, or called the Shakti, and energy and energetic. And there is various explanation is there even in our scripture. It is mentioned that even Krishna and Radha. So Radha is the potency of Krishna, and the potency of Krishna is nothing but Radha or Shakti. Or even if you take the Shiva and Parvati, the potency, and the Lakshmi and Narayana, or this Vasishta and Arundhati, and even if you take Lord Ram and Sita. So always we address with these aspects of the Shakti and Shaktiman, and they are there together. The concept is that they are together. So together they they indulge into their activities, so that they are completely protected by the external forces, external influences. So here in these words, it's very clearly mentioning that there are lots of external forces can attack a person. Lots of, in the sense that, if, it says that generally that idle mind is a devil's playground. That means if a person is idle, immediately the evilness attacks the mind of a person. And then according to the directions of the mind, the senses started to activate, senses start to act. And the senses, by the directions of the mind and the senses, and he doesn't even know that how he is going to act. It is completely deluded. There's the urges, the forces of the senses, the forces of the mind, are the urges of the body, mind, and the senses. It is like uncontrolled horses. Uncontrolled horses, it's mentioned that, in the scriptures, and many times it is mentioned that uncontrolled mind is the very dangerous. It's a foe, it's an enemy. Similarly, it is mentioned that here in this verse that indriya ari means shatru, or enemies, and indriyas are the senses. So senses are the enemies of the senses. If it is not controlled, if it is uncontrolled, it will completely subdue, it will completely overcome the person's goodness, and it will put it into the ignorance and into the darkness, and is completely lost in this world, and he is completely lost. So it's attacked by the plunderers of the urges of the senses, and then man can lost in this world. So here it is the wife, or the ardhankini, fills those gaps, and fills that, supports and protects that the urges, unwanted, undesired, the sense urges, that which is protected by the wife, or ardhankini. And it's a very important duty of a wife as well, that to fulfill the desires of a husband, and the same time the husband's duties that fulfill the desires of the wife. And here what we are going to learn out of it. So here it is generally speaking as a grihastha life. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned the purport. We have a wonderful order system, the social order. There is a varna and asrama. Varna, which is the Supreme Lord, is actually created. It's mentioned that Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vivagasham. It is based on the qualities and the activities. So all these social orders are based on the qualities and the activities of a person. And then we can see that there is an asrama. Asrama means, there is a word in Sanskrit which is called shrama, that means our endeavor. Parishrama. Shrama means our stages of endeavor, that to attain the highest goal of the life. That's why this asrama. Asrama is the stage that one can attain the highest perfection. So we have this asrama. There is a brahmachari asrama. Brahmachari, that means the celibate and the student life. And there are regulations and the rules and regulations there in the brahmachari ashram, brahmachari, the life or the social order in that brahmachari. And brahmacharya, brahmacharya, it's called, the word come from brahmacharya. Charya means one who practice. Charya means practice. Brahmacharya, that means one who practice the Krishna consciousness, one who practices the God consciousness. And this is the stage. In that stage, it is restricted. The married life or the woman in that brahmacharya is restricted, because of, in order to attain that the goal of brahmacharya, one has to follow this celibacy, and it has to be celibate, and there should not be any interaction with the woman in that stage. And so this sex life is restricted in the brahmacharya, so that one who executes this brahmacharya can attain the highest perfection of the life, that means attaining the supreme. And there is also Naishtiga Brahmachari. So Naishtiga Brahmachari, one who is lifelong celibate, that's called the Naishtiga Brahmachari. And a person in the brahmachari life or student life up to 25 years, according to our scripture, up to 25 years, one can, become a brahmachari or a student life. But the Naishtiga Brahmachari is a lifelong Brahmachari, is not allowed to, that's the Naishtiga Brahmachari, enter into any other ashram. Then in this life, then if the Brahmachari wanted to change the asrama, that means change the stages of his life, and then he can enter into the Grihastha asrama. So Griha means the house, or the residents were. And asrama means where the devotional activities are executed. So this is where the person entering into the grihastha life, and in that life, a person supposed to execute as a grihastha, supposed to execute the devotional activities instead of, there is another term called the griha medhi. Grihamedhi means one who enjoyed, one who entered into the sensual activities. Medha means enjoying the senses. So one who is enjoying, one who is entering into the enjoying only the purpose of his life, only to enjoy this material world is known as Grihamedhi. And that's, there are in Bhagavatam, there are so many examples of the Griha Medhi it is mentioned. So the reason, dear devotees, that this great personality is mentioning over here, because to understand the good and the bad part of it and take that what is good for our spiritual progress and the devotional services to the Supreme Lord. So it is mentioned that the Grihamedhi, one who enters into the Grihastha life without the devotional platform, without the devotional activities, and he just utilizes his mind and senses and the body only for his satisfaction of his senses, he is considered as a Grihamedhi. There is a beautiful story in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's known as King Puranjana. I'm not getting in detail of that, I'll just summarize in brief. King Puranjana, this was explained by the Sri Narada Dev. Narada Dev was explaining to the Prajinabari, the king, and Prajinabari, the sons were known as Prachetas. Prachetas attained the Supreme Lord by the instruction by the Lord Shiva, and they were doing the penances for the 10,000 years. By this time, Prajinabarhi was just engaging into the fruitive activities, and he was just wasting his life just to enjoy his senses and to attain material enjoyment in this life. He is completely engaging into the fruitive activities. And this is the time Narada Dev saw that the Prajinabari's sons were so devotional, they were attaining, they were doing the penances for thousands of years, and here in this case of the father is doing all these fruitive activities. And Narada Dev approached Prajinabarhi and making understanding the importance of the human life. And here the Narada Dev was giving an example, quoting an example of King Puranjana. Puranjana was like that. Puranjana was a person. He was initially he was alone. He was wandering in this world. He was trying to see what he's all about. He was going around all these places. And finally he came and saw a beautiful woman. And it is an allegorical, the explanation later we can see that how Narada Dev was very allegorically explaining to, the Prajinabarhi that, this beautiful woman is considered as our senses and our body. And then this King Puranjana, he was a king, Puranjana, then saw this beautiful, woman, and he was completely attacked by the Cupid, and he was completely surrendered himself to this woman, and then they got married, and then it's a very detailed section of it. And then King Narada Dev was explaining to the King Prajinabarhi that this King Puranjana will talk only when his wife talks. Then he sits when wife sits, and when he tastes anything that then wife tastes, he always walk behind this lady, this Puranjini. It's called as Puranjini, and always he was so attached to this wife. And when she eats, then only he eats. When she talks, only when he talks. When she sit on the bed, then only he sits. When she says something joke, then only he jokes. Everything like what is called completely attached and attacked and completely surrendered to a female body, because of he is enjoyed by and he is getting a pleasure, sensual pleasure, and he is getting out of this lady, and he is completely attacked by and completely controlled by this lady. And I was summarizing it. And finally, what happened? This Kala Yavana and this Gandhar was attacked this kingdom, and then finally he was actually arrested, and he being killed, and he became a woman in this next life, because of he was always thinking about this woman. So dear devotees, the Grihastha ashram is regulated. That's what is Srila Prabhupada was very much mentioning about this ashrama, and Srila Prabhupada put it as this Devi Varnasrama. So we have to understand what is Devi Varnasrama means. We have to transcend all this Varna and Asrama. So we have to transcend. So that's why Srila Prabhupada, established this beautiful, Krishna conscious movement, so that we know what to be done even in a grihastha life, not to be a grihamedi. Even when we are in the grihastha life, we have rules and regulations. We are not like, the plunderers, like, completely engaging in our sensual activities and just to live to fulfill the desires of the senses. That is not the purpose of the life. The purpose of the life, it is mentioned, one who is the purpose of the entering into the grihastha life is to attain that perfection, attain the goal of the life, attain the existence, purpose of our existence, to come to the Krishna consciousness. So Devi Varnasrama means transcend our asrama, our stage of life. And how we can do that? So following the rules and regulations, following the scriptural references, how the great personalities, like, in our situations, in our scriptures, we can see that most of the great personalities, they were in the grihastha life. Even Srila Prabhupada was in the grihastha life, and but completely controlled by the senses, not to so much indulge our senses and the mind and the body for this this infinite desires, or to fulfill the infinite desires of our unwanted needs or desires. So as we know that the karma is the greatest enemy in anybody's life. If it is not controlled, it can completely devastate us, completely put us into the hellish planets, in hellish condition. This attachment, this karma, is the root cause of our bondage in this material world, and that's the root cause of our repeated birth and death in this material world. So one who is in the grihastha asrama should be very much conscious of what we're supposed to do. So yes, with the help of the wife. So that's basically the Sagadharmani, Sahayogini, or Dharma Patni is all meant by that. In together, they can attain the perfection. That's why in the many times, Srila Prabhupada even mentioned that when somebody takes the initiation, it's always better to take initiation together, so that they can indulge in Krishna conscious activities together, and they can perform the activities together, and wife helps in Krishna consciousness and support, and as says that, always give the strength to the husband in order to progress in Krishna conscious life. The same way the husband gives the strength and support to the wife in order to achieve the Krishna consciousness. We know that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning in one situations where when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of Advaita Acharya, and there immediately the Advaita Acharya was instructing to Mother Malini to cook, and immediately the wonderful feast is arranged, and then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even praised the cooking of Mother Malini, and mentioned that this is the order, this is the system, that wife supports the husband, and usually the wife cooks in the home and husband offers to the Supreme Lord. And this Srila Prabhupada recommended that in a home, wife cooks nicely, because of they know the cooking, the science of cooking, and they makes a wonderful prasadam, and that should be offered by the husband. So this is the grihastha life, and in all respect, they should be controlled their sensual activities, even in the grihastha life, and they should endeavor to attain the goal of the life, to attain the Krishna consciousness. So wife and husband together can make that progress, and it's always helpful, and it's always binding that way in Krishna consciousness and supporting. And many times, it was Sachinandan Maharaj was mentioning that when we have such a beautiful association as a devotee, the husband considers the wife in Krishna consciousness as a devotee, and they are actually in the devotional platform. The husband is a devotee, wife is a devotee. They together act as and considered as a Vaishnava. So anything against that, we even with the mind we talk or doing against the husband or wife, that is also a Vaishnava aparad, and we should be very careful about it. The Vaishnava aparad. So Vaishnava aparad, and that's where actually they start. So the main goal of the grihastha life is to attain and to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That should be the grihastha life, and dear devotees, that should be our life. And this is the message that we can get from the Srimad Bhagavatam, that together in the Krishna conscious life, and we should serve together. And what else is much better than this? What else is beautiful than this? What else is that very purer than this? together serve the Supreme Lord, together bring the progeny, and engage that progeny and the children in the Krishna consciousness, and give support to the other system of social orders like Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. And they are taking this wonderful sacrifice. This is the greatest sacrifice. That's why the Lord even comes down into the appears into the Grihastha life, and as appearing as the son of the mother Devaki and Vasudev, Yashoda. And in all cases we can see that even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even appeared as in the Grihastha, like Sri Chajimata and the son of Sachimada, because of then the sacrifice which the husband and wife performs, and Lord is so pleased with it. So thank you so much. With this note, I would end here. It's already 7:02. Sorry for that. Hare Krishna. Kundaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Simheswara Prabhu.
Hare Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We'd like to wish you all a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead and weekend ahead. Right. Weekend filled with a lot of Krishna Katha. Tomorrow we'll also have us restarting from Govinda's all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. So you can all participate.
What are the timings, Prabhu?
12 to 3.
It's on site, right? Everybody can come and have the prasada
Yes.
from there.
Yeah. Live. Yeah. 12 to 3. Okay. Sunday morning, 8 to 9. Krishnanam Prabhu, who is speaking?
Nitai Sevani Mataji, Ram Katha.
Ram Katha by Nitai Sevani Mataji. Okay, wonderful. Also, Ramapad Maharaj is in our community and is giving classes. Also attend those classes. That being said, we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare.
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama,
Ram
Rama
Ram.
Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Narsinga, Jai Narsinga, Jai Jai
Narsingha,
Narsinga,
Jai Narsingha, Jai
Ladesha Jaya
Jai Padma Mukha Padma
Radesha,
Sindha,
Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Sindha,
Kavira
Viryam
Mahavishnu,
Veeram Mahavishnu, Jalantam Sarvotam,
Mahavishnu Vishnam
Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Vrutam Namamiham.
Narsinga Bhagwan
Jai.
ki Jai,
Jai,
Prahlad ki
Jai,
Jai.
Jai.
Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha
Devacha
patitanam
Pavanebhyo
pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Vaishnava
Vaishnava.
Ki Jai, Prabhupada ki
Jai,
Jai. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Jai,
ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai,
Jai, Gaur
Jai.
Premanande.
Hari 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 Om.
Thank you, Simheswara Prabhuji.
Thank you, Simheswara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. Hare Bol.
Thank
Hare
you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.